Hi everyone, this is Lisa Cronin from It's Little Things in Cardmaking, and I'm here to make a video. I want to say thank you to everyone that's stuck by me. It's been about a year, I haven't made a video. I've been watching lots of videos, and there's a lot of good stuff out there. And this one particular thing that I saw and had to try, I fell in love. I'm talking about using tissue paper to make cards and embellishments, and yeah, I've been playing all week, like obsessed. I don't know what it is. It like makes me happy. So there's a process involved, and the process is a couple of steps. So I'm really hoping that this might be a long video or this might be a two-parter. I'm not sure. I decided that I had to keep trying and seeing what worked best for me. I don't like anything that's really messy. So I was a little hesitant. But then after I started working and trying and doing, did I say, okay, maybe it's a better way. Maybe I can try it this way and it won't be so messy. And I think I kind of got it down to a science where I'm not saying it's like mess free, but the mess is at a minimum, like minimum. So there's a few things that I figured out, a few things that I think are really helpful. So I'm going to try to explain a little bit too. These are two of the projects that I finished. And I'll explain to you some of the differences in some of the pieces. So I do have some finished pieces. I don't have any finished cards. I've just been very, very busy playing. And I don't know if you can see, but there are sparkles on there. I can't see them. Can you see them? If I bring it up more. Now you can see them. And look at those craters. I mean, seriously. Look at those craters. Now, those craters are going to do a few things. It's going to give us number one dimension on anything that we use this on. And what my plan for this was, because there is sparkle there, and it doesn't show up so good on camera. But there you go. Did you just see that? That was very cool. Let me see if I can do that again. No. All right. A snowflake. Like, die cut this into a snowflake or a couple of snowflakes. I mean, how beautiful would that be? Anything that's fractal, like anything that has any kind of, I don't know how to explain it really, but anything that has any kind of crackle or any kind of fractals, really. Fractals? I'm not saying it right. I know I'm not. But I can't even tell you how excited I am and how much of this I've been doing. I'm going to show you a couple of finished pieces, and if I get too excited, you got to excuse me. It's been a long time since I made a video, since I shared anything creative, so you're in for a treat. Okay, so this was another piece that I made, and it's kind of cool, right? I don't know if I would use this as a background, but I would definitely, and have, you can see, I've cut out and die cut some pieces from it. And I have them here. This is also another one. And this is a frame, but look at the frame. It almost looks like old world French provincial gaudy gold frame. Almost. This is another piece that I did. And again, it has that metallic, and I'll talk about that. Remember, I said there's stages, there's steps. Show you some of the things that I made now. These are some of the things that I made. So this is, a shell. You gotta look at the shell. I mean, it has dimension. It has that beautiful, it almost looks like foiling, but it's not. It's metallic. And I love working with it. This is a piece that I did not put together yet, but I wanted to show you how sometimes the striations of the tissue paper, how it could actually add to our embellishments and give it that much more dimension. So, I mean, how cool is that? It actually looks like it's a real crustacean, like it's, I don't know. Here's some more. And these are cool. These actually are, it's a set. Gosh, I'm going to forget the companies. Trying to remember who makes this. Can't remember right now. But it's a layering set. But because of the way that the markings are, not just with the die and the embossing, but also with that kind of metallic, it's the fragments are there. I mean, look, I mean, it's like a marbling, and it's just so pretty. Like really, really pretty. And it's not just tissue paper. It's tissue paper, but it's also embellishing the tissue paper. It's making something out of it. And so in essence, what you're doing is you're creating your own pattern paper, and with dimension. And that to me is very cool. So obviously you see I'm making a beach scene here, and depending upon how and what you use to color these pieces will give you that wow factor. I mean, would this look the same without the gold? Would it look the same without those little fragments, those striations, that little pieces of, like right here, those, that one line, it just gives it life. It's not flat. It just gives it some kind of a dimension. It gives it interest. And I just fell in love. So this is another one, excuse me. This is another one that's a layering die set, and this came out so pretty. I mean, really pretty. Not that I know what these seashells really look like, under the sea, but I would think that they're glorious. So, yeah, loved it. For a kid's card, I have this, and this also has the gold. You can see here. And some pieces have more gold than others. But it's not just, it's not just the tissue paper. The tissue paper gives us the dimension. It's coloring them. It's actually it's bringing the paper to life by adding metallics and paints and sprays and waxes and gels and so many products. So many products could be used. I mean, look at this. How pretty. I mean, it's juvenile, but it's still very, very pretty. My lighting isn't great here, which is unfortunate. But so these are some of the summer things. And then I also started a few flowers. And take this, for instance, this flower here. This flower doesn't have any of the gold in it, but you can see the vein. You can see veining, which is in every flower. Veining is in leaves, it's in flowers, it's in butterflies, it's in so many things. And by using the tissue paper and creating veins and then highlighting those veins, I mean, how beautiful is that? To me, I don't know. I'm in love. Now, there's different kinds of tissue paper. That's why I'm doing this whole introduction, because I need to not just show you the results of some of the things that I've done, but there are different types of tissue paper, and that's something that I wanted to kind of explain. Obviously, leaves. Let's talk about leaves. Okay. So this, and again, my lighting is just not good here. Let's try that. So this was, I did a big sheet, a big piece. And I think it went this way. I don't know how it went. Maybe this way? This way. So I did a full sheet, 8.5 by 11. And I used I probably used sprays. I used distress sprays, most likely. And I loved it. I loved this veining. I had to bring it out with, with a polish. I loved it. And the results, I mean, some of these, they almost look real. Look at that leaf. I mean, how cool is that? Again, look at this purple. Oh my gosh. How beautiful is that? I mean, I'm in love. I really am. I love doing this. And I wanted to share it. So these are some of the things I've been playing with. And I have a butterfly here, gold butterfly, because I wanted to show you we can use it as a backer, and you can see the gold through the butterfly's wings, and it just is it's so pretty. It's just really pretty. I know, gushing, and I don't gush. I stay low key, but I had to. I definitely had to, because I had to share this. I got such joy out of it. So this is another 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I'm not sure what I used. If I used, I'm trying to remember. I used so many different products that I don't even remember what I used to color. I do know, look at this. Isn't that beautiful? I think that's beautiful. And this is easy. This is really, really easy. And I think that's the thing that gets me too. It looks like it's complicated. There are maybe 3 or 4 steps, but totally worth it. And you can do so many different ones in a short period of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain a little bit about the different tissue papers that I've um, I've worked with, that I'm working with, and and some of the results. So take this for instance. This one is tissue paper on 65-pound card, and it's a blue card. And this is what they call metallic tissue paper. Metallic tissue paper. Got it on Amazon, off of Amazon. This is what it looks like. I have everything already here. Okay. That's what it looks like. And it's pretty. So there's a shiny side, and this goes for all tissue paper. Shiny side, dull side. Shiny side. Only use the shiny side up when I'm using the metallic paper. When I'm using regular tissue paper, there is always a shiny side that goes down. So that's kind of important, and I wanted to mention that. But what is so cool is this is blue. They consider this blue metallic tissue paper. And when we put it together, it looks like this. Just by scrunching it up and gluing it. But take that same blue and put it up against white. And now you have a lighter color. Like the finished product is going to be lighter. This is going to be lighter because you're using different color card. So white is going to give you a lighter hue. Then we can go darker. And if we went a little darker and maybe change the tone of the blue using the same metallic blue tissue paper, this is now what we get. So from the same color tissue paper, just by changing your cardstock, you get all different shades of this tissue paper, your finished product. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Now, the other good thing is you don't have to really use good cardstock. I mean, 65-pound cardstock is fine. Truthfully, if you're going to die cut anything, you're better off using the thinner paper. I made the mistake when I first started. I used a heavier paper thinking, oh, if I use a heavier paper, then, it will be more solid. The finished product will be more solid. No, you're going to have a problem going through your machine. If it's a background, then yeah, it could be a heavier paper, 85, even 100 pounds. But for something that you think, oh, I don't know if I'm going to use it as a die cut, I don't know if I'm going to use it as a background, 65 pounds is more than enough. So it's inexpensive to do. It's easy to do. The results are fabulous, depending upon how you finish it off. And it's not that messy. It really isn't. But there's a secret. I gotta tell you what the secret is. And you're gonna be amazed, because I was actually kind of amazed myself. You're working and you're playing and you're seeing what works and what doesn't. Okay, so this here is another piece that I did. And it could be anything. I can cut this up. This could be a background. Now, what this was kind of like a green, this was green tissue paper. It wasn't metallic. It was green tissue paper. They have all different color papers. These are all tissue papers. So this is yellow and red and green and blue. And it's not metallic. It's very matte. But the cool thing is you can do the same thing. You can take any one of your tissue papers, put it on top of, and I put it on top of this lavender color, and that's the color I came out with. And what's also cool is if you decide you want to, change the color and ink it up and do whatever, you already started. You already have your base. You already have your first layer of color down, which I think is very cool because the less moisture you put on your paper, the better your paper is going to hold together. So there's so many things that I figured out, and I couldn't wait to tell you. So here I made a cute little, because I love my frames. I made a great frame, which I'll probably, use it on this as a background, and then put my little fishes and different things. I have ideas, and that's just the piece that came out after I cut it. And you can make these as big as you want. Any colors, any sizes. I mean, seriously, so pretty. I know, I have to do this fast because I have to show you what the secret is. And these are all different color papers. 65 pounds. And all I did was put tissue paper and then ink them up after they were glued and everything. This was beautiful. This was a beautiful piece. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's sparkles on there. This also. I mean, there's so many things that you could do. Look at this piece here. Just so nice. Look at that. Leaves, grass, trees. So many. This had me. It's green on the back, but it was double-sided paper. It was purple in the front. And I put tissue paper on, and I just put some blue on there, and it came out beautiful. So now this is what I was talking about. This is tissue paper, and it's this color. It's a light green. But I put it on a light green cardstock. I did my gluing. I did my little mushing around. I didn't put any kind of a glaze on it. I didn't put any kind of a wax or polish. I kind of left it alone. And I think I have every color of the rainbow like this. Whatever color I was able to make, I made by combining the tissue paper and the cardstock. And that was with just the plain cardstock. Now, the tissue paper ones, they come out so pretty. And I've done some inking on them, and the tissue paper does not resist the ink, which is good. You're not going to get a full, in-depth kind of, strong color. The paper doesn't grab it the same way, so you're not going to get that real saturation of color. But this is just the tissue paper. And it's on, this is probably on grocery bag. What's it called? Come on, Lisa, you can remember. Craft cardstock. Oh my gosh. This was another piece. This one I did do some inking on. Not just inking, but I also did some polishing on that. I think these are great for frames. I really do. I think they're great. So now this is kind of this color metallic on a light beige. And they're both the same. The difference is, you know, how I scrunch this up and how I scrunch this up. This is pink on pink. So this is pink metallic, and it's on pink cardstock. 65-pound cardstock. Seriously. Here's your, oh gosh, I have sparkles on this too. So this is silver. This is the metallic silver. And I have it on, I think I have it on light gray. And you're like, why, what's that? What's behind it? That's the secret. All right, so, I don't know if you can see, can you see my little sparkles? There's sparkles on this too. I thought this would look great for wintertime cards with the sparkles. Yellow, just because you can. Yellow on, so this is like a yellow metallic on yellow cardstock. 65-pound cardstock. That's metallic. Then you have the color ones. And then we have the regular white. And I'm finding out a lot. Like, I'm finding out that I can make, I even started making like shapes, you know, like trees and kind of like ocean lines. And okay, I'm going to tell you what the secret is. The secret is having a bottom. And you're going to say, what are you talking about? Okay. When I do the gluing, I use 2 pieces of paper, of the tissue paper. One on the bottom of my cardstock and the one that I'm scrunching up for the top. Now what that does, because I'm not using good cardstock, it's like 65-pound cardstock, and you could even probably even go thinner. What happens is, the way I glue it down, I'm actually gluing the edges of the entire piece of card to the bottom, but only the edges, not the middle. And what this does, believe it or not, there's a lot of moisture in the glue. And typically what will happen is this will curl, it will become, you know, kind of warped. Well, that doesn't happen because look at how tight it is. You see how tight it is? That's keeping the cardstock from warping. Because it's going to be wet when you put your glue down and then you put your paper down. It's going to be wet. And typically what happens when paper gets wet, and it's going to be completely wet, it will curl and it will warp. When you have the tissue paper underneath as well, it doesn't warp. Look. I mean, there's very little curl on it. I'm telling you, I was like a scientist. It was unbelievable. Every time I learned something new, I fell more and more in love. So that's the secret. Plus the fact, by having the tissue paper on the bottom, when you glue your cardstock, you're not making a mess. You shouldn't make a mess. Even when you're putting your paper down on top, shouldn't make a mess. Your papers, both of them, should be a little bigger than your cardstock. This way, you don't have any mess. You glue it, you pick it up, and what I have is like, you know, these cardstocks, these you know, from packaging and paper pads and stuff. And once it's glued, I put it on there and I put it aside. And 25 minutes, they dry. And you can start doing whatever coloring. But let me show you. And what's important, I probably lost half of you by now, but what's probably important is to remember the shiny side and the dull side. And if you look, all of my white, it's the dull side. If you look at the back, that's the shiny side. So you're going to be always working on the dull side. The dull side is always up. And the reason for that is, well, I'm not really sure the reason. Well, it kind of keeps, when you're gluing, if your dull side is up and your cardstock is on top of it, and you're putting your glue on, kind of keeps your cardstock in place. Your cardstock isn't flipping and flopping all over the place. So that's kind of a cool thing. So now when you want to put, your glue is there, you're going to put your paper down. You're going to have the slippery side on the bottom. So you have time to maneuver your paper and make shapes and different striations and designs. And I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun. So, what do I have? What kind of glue? Guess what? I went and I bought from BJ's. This is half gone. This is like 1 gallon. It's half gone. That's how much I've played. So now I have a brush. This is one of those cheap paint brushes. Like a regular paintbrush that a painter would use to paint your house. And I cut it down. I didn't want flippy floppy. I didn't want to be brushing and have glue going all over. I wanted to have some control. So I cut it down at an angle, just with scissors. Made sure it was level and even. And this is the only brush that I have used since starting this like a week and a half ago. I have a little container. I wash it out when I'm done. I wash out my brush to ready for the next time. So now we are going to start. A half hour in and you didn't see a thing yet. Isn't that terrible? I know. I can't help it though. I really do want you to see some of the results because, I mean, it's so pretty. I'm going to start off with the white. White on white. And I'm only going to do a few. I set myself up to do a lot, but also my suggestion is use a waterproof mat of some kind or a glass table, because you are going to get some glue on that. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look and I'm going to see what side is the shiny side. This side is the shiny side. So I want to make sure I always remember that. I'm just going to scrunch it up. Now, I want to know what side is the shiny side here. This side. So always the dull side up. I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't feel like I'm suffocating. And all I'm going to do is just paint. Just paint. That's it. And you could see my hair. Isn't that terrible? Okay. And usually there's about, I go for 2 dips of the glue. And I make the glue as even as I possibly can. And you see how the paper's not moving? Like the paper is not moving. I'm trying to make you see the whole thing. I don't think you're going to be able to. The paper pretty much is staying right where it is. Now I'm going to take my scrunchy paper. And this is, I can see, shiny. And this is dull. And I'm going to kind of start in the middle. And I want this to have a lot of wrinkles. And what I'm doing is like a little mouse, just kind of like walking around. And I can maneuver it a little bit, just a little bit. You don't have a lot of time. You have a couple of minutes. You don't have a lot of time. And once you have everything down, and you can move, like I said, a little bit. You do have to be gentle. I mean, you have to remember, you have to move it with love, because it is tissue paper after all. And that's it. That's it. It's done. It's done. It's done. Now I take one of my little cardboards, put it on the cardboard, and now it dries. 20 minutes, it's dry. And I put it to the side. Now I'm going to take another one and do exactly the same thing. But this time I think what I'm going to do, this is the shiny side, I want the dull side. And I'm going to just kind of accordion it. Because I think it does matter a little bit, kind of how you're starting out with the paper that you're wrapping on top. Again, this is the flat side, which is great. I'm going to take my brush and my glue, and I'm just going to spread it evenly. And look at that. I don't even have to hold it. I'm not even holding it. It's just staying all by itself. Very cool. Very cool. No mess. And you can do this for days. I could do this for hours. I don't know. I love it. I love the fact that I can make a background. I love the fact that it's not messy, that it's cheap. You know, all those good things. Okay, so I'm putting the shiny side down. But the way that I'm going to do it is I'm just going to start it at the bottom. And I want to kind of like make waves. I want them to look like waves. And like I said, you can move it a little bit, very gently. If you want, you can stretch it out a little bit. Give it, you know, more of a horizontal disposition before you lay it down. And like I said, you can move it without ripping it. But you want to try to make sure that your paper makes your tissue paper makes contact with, and I did rip it. But that's okay. The rest of it is good. So now I just take another one of my cardboards here. So yeah, you have to kind of be organized. You have to set yourself up. You got to have your papers pre-cut. I'm gonna do the blues of the metallics now. Again, shiny side down, cardstock. I'm going to take, and we want shiny side up on the metallics. So I'm just gonna, you know, put it into a bowl, throw it into a bowl. I've got to reposition myself. I don't think I'm here very good. Okay, and again, only a bit, maybe two. Maybe 2 times I dip in. And I'm trying to get it as even as I can. And that bottom paper is holding down that cardstock. Okay. So I unraveled it. I'm just making sure I'm kind of centered. Now we're thinking, what are we thinking? We're thinking snowflakes, maybe? So I want there to be lots of kind of like sections. And you can actually try to make like the shape of a star or a snowflake. So that will kind of give you a head start. And again, make sure your paper is making contact with the glue. And there you go. And still no glue. Everything is still clean. Yay. Love that. Love that. And we didn't even have to go out and buy anything. All right, so I'm going to hold on to this blue one because I want you to see the different shades of blue that we're going to be able to make with that metallic blue paper. All right, now I'm going to try it on the white. All right. I'm going to smash this one up really, really good. And we want the shiny side down. I'm going to take my glue and just put it on as even as I can. It's kind of like I do half and then I do the other half. And as far as, coloring and really embellishing the papers themselves, that's a lot of fun too. So now I'm going to look for the shiny side because this is metallic paper. And there it is. And I'm going to start in the middle because I tend to get like better little craters when I start in the middle. I don't know why that is, but that seems to be the case. And I'm kind of like squishing the papers together, like so that it touches it. You don't want it to be, too gathered. Not, you know what I mean? Like, we don't want that paper to have like a really big, fold over. We don't want that because, if you cut it up, and if you die cut it, what's going to happen then? It didn't connect to the paper. So it's going to come up. It won't stay on the cardstock. Then I just kind of wipe it with my hand, make sure it's all making contact. Okay. So because we use different cardstock so far, those are the two colors. With the same tissue paper, just by changing the color of the cardstock. Very cool. Okay, let's try the other one. I think that was the white cardstock. This is the darkest blue. This one I'm probably the most excited, because I didn't do this one, so I'm the most excited to see what this looks like. And let's check it out. So again, putting a generous amount, but not so much that it's going to totally saturate the paper. I just want a nice, even, something on there, a nice, even coat. And I'm making sure that I go to my ends because that's important. Can't forget the ends. All right, let's even it out a little bit. And, I mean, you have to work fast, but not to a point where, it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta do it. Yeah, no, it's not like that. Okay, I'm unraveling. I'm putting the shiny side up on the metallic paper. And this blue is going to be different from the other blues. Like a little mouse. And make sure you get your ends. And you can maneuver it a little bit. Just a little bit. But you're always risking ripping it if you move it a little too much. That fold over was just a little too fat. So I needed to lessen it a little bit so it made better contact. All right, let's look at our 3 colors now. Okay, so this was the white with the blue metallic. This was kind of like that baby blue. And this was that medium blue. And look at that. I mean, I can make a flower with 3 different color blues. You know, give it a little dimension that way. I love this. I think this is great. So I am going to continue to do my thing here. I cut a lot of paper, and I want to make sure that when I come back on, I have a lot to work with. We'll do some coloring. Then I'll show you how I use the polishes and the pastes. And I think I found a really good tool for that too, by the way. But I want to thank you for stopping in. I want to thank those that have stuck with me, you know, a year. It's been a year. I'm happy to be back. I'm very excited. I really did miss everyone, and I missed sharing and creating, and I'm very pleased that, you know, my channel has grown still. I want to thank you. Over 1,000 subscribers. I think that's a wonderful thing. And until next time, please remember, it's the little things in card making, and I will be back really soon, I promise. Take care. Stay well. Bye now.